Okay, Node.js, welcome to the Node.js Diagnostic Working Group meeting, December 1st, 2021. To start with, are there any announcements? I take it as a no. We have two items in the agenda. First one is
You should promote Bradley.
okay. Meeting time 5:07. So there are two issues that we need to solve by fixing the meeting time. Number one is that occasionally the current time conflict with the TSC meeting, which a couple of us need to attend. It's a recurring pain. So if the current time is moved, that would remediate that, number one. Number two, because people from far extremes are participants in this working group, for example, from West Coast in Brazil on one side and Australia on the other. Getting a right balance of time is always challenging. For example, the current time is too early for Mary, and it's already too late for Stephen. Stephen said he's able to adjust because he has other meetings. But if we move on either side, then it's a tricky stuff to do. One of the proposals that we have on the table is to rotate, which I believe is to have two meetings at two different times, so that at least everybody can attend at least one meeting.
Makes sense to me. I mean,
how many people are going to attend both and like bridge that gap?
Yeah, that's a valid question. The meeting, the diagnostic working group itself is like 4 or 5 members who are regularly attending, and it is a single session. When we split it, as we split into half, then it would be like 2 or 3 in either of the meetings. That I don't know how that would affect the quality and the focus on the stated items in the working group.
I think that to the current meeting this time, I think only Mary and maybe Flarna can't join, right?
Yes.
Is 1 hour later any better for people?
For Datadog employees, it's significantly better, which I'm a Datadog employee, so is Stephen.
Right, and then is it worse? It's 1 hour later.
Any time
for
except this
your-
hour is good for us.
Right.
This is bad.
Currently,
I know
think
I
that
can see, like, for people who are in Pacific, it's like 8 a.m., which is early, right? I'm wondering, like, I don't think there's any community meetings like Mondays at 12 Eastern, which would be an hour later. I don't know if that, I guess for you, Jarish, that's, what time is it now?
Now it's 9:30, but
Okay, so it's already
yeah.
quite late, yeah. Like 9:30 p.m., I assume.
9:30 p.m. Yeah, it goes back to 8:30 p.m. when we are on, when you guys are on DST.
Right. Yeah, so it's hard to get a. I guess you're saying, Bradley, as well, it's this time, like this time on this day or this time every day. That's.
I think that this time
This
every
Wednesday is bad for us, at least. Sorry.
So like a different day would be better even if it was the same time.
I could check which days are easiest. Not Thursday, not Wednesday. Other than that, you're pretty good usually.
Like how about like a Wednesday or a Monday at this time?
Let me check in the future for all of our calendars.
Yeah. I don't know, Jarish, is that possible for you? And Raphael, is that?
Yeah, it's good for me.
sorry, which time?
It'd be this same time, so 11 Eastern on Mondays.
On Mondays, let me check.
It's clear for us.
Because that's where like it looks clear in the community calendar, so we wouldn't overlap.
Let
Yeah,
me double check
indeed.
Stevens.
Yeah, on Monday, it's good to me.
So Monday, same time looks like a consensus. That would at least solve one problem, which is
Right.
conflict with the TSC.
Monday doesn't work for Steven. It's his retro.
Uh, every week, or
Oh, let me double check.
you said retro? Just
Yeah. It's retro and then planning the other weeks.
right. Okay, so it's like the team meeting. Tuesdays.
I'm good.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday is good to me. The other one is a bit complicated.
I think. So does Tuesdays work then?
Yeah. Okay, so if Tuesday 11:80, if that looks like a agreeable timing, let's stick to that. Let's float it for probably maybe a week or so to see if people who did not attend today have a chance to opinion. Then freeze on that, and then For the other thing, maybe we should have a wider discussion. That's on the actual timing. Right now, today we propose the change in the day. Later, we discuss further on the timing. Does that sound reasonable?
I think so, because like going earlier or later seems to be a challenge for somebody, right? So actually sticking with the time we have and on a different day may be the easiest initial change.
Yeah. All right. So let's go with that approach as of now.
I assume you can make changes in the calendar.
I will try that, Michael,
Okay.
and contact you in case if I'm unable to
Yep.
do that.
Okay.
Thanks. The next one is identify async hooks use case beyond async local storage, item number 437. I guess Stephen has been championing this. Anybody else have any insight or any status update on this item?
I know the only thing I do know, which is not new, is there was a blog post right on July. I guess that's quite a while back, but like this blog post, which was asking for feedback. I don't think we've seen a mass amounts of feedback since then. I think I've seen a few discussions, but that's about it. I can't remember if we talked about doing something beyond that. That was sort of the next step to get feedback. I'm just looking. Yeah, last discussion was around the 20th.
Sorry, I'm dual boxing meetings. I missed that last topic.
It was use cases beyond async hooks
For local storage.
so
I think
use cases
we're-
beyond local storage for async hooks, you know, with the
Yep.
goal of getting rid of them eventually.
I think we're about the only people who do it at Datadog. APM vendors do it. So
There were a few other people who commented in the, like, I think like Node Clinic uses them, and
yep, for any sort of diagnostic stuff, we have an open PR to start moving off of them entirely.
right, okay.
In part because backporting stuff is so problematic. So like, in order for us to actually use async hooks, as we do today, a bunch of stuff goes wrong because of performance. Performance gets really bad. And if we try to fix it, we're not allowed to backport it because almost everything you do in async hooks is considered major.
Right.
And so there's basically no path for us to actually use it reliably.
Right.
It's just like an incredibly unstable thing where we're not allowed to backport any features, even if they're purely additive, like they're considered major. So like a big thing for us is we can't use the new promise hooks that Stephen made in node 12. And so for the next 3 years, we can't use it. And there's no way we could polyfill it.
3 years? Node 12 goes in end of life.
Yeah,
Next
but
year?
we're a company. We're not tied to actual nodes release schedule
Right, okay. So you support cycles beyond the,
for a little bit.
yeah.
So
But I
like,
think that, the whole thing here was like, it's too low level, which probably leads to some of the things you're talking about. So like, what other APIs can we have that are fill the bill, but one we're comfortable as a project making stable, and would also probably be like, get around some of those issues you're talking about. So like async local storage is one, but this was to gather other use cases, key use cases.
yeah, so the big one is context propagation for us, what we call scope management internally. So we have some slides I'm working on to kind of present this internally at our company. There's multiple contexts, especially whenever you do an await. And you need to gather not just like async local storage, which propagates the current execution stack onward, but after it returns from the await, you need to know basically what it did inside of the await, what async tasks were still running, so you can propagate stuff further. The default example there that breaks really bad when you try to use async local storage style propagation is a message queue. So AWS has the SQS library. It's basically a message queue. You can use it and get a message out. And when you get a message out using async local storage, you don't get anything. If AWS were to attach something during async local storage, context propagation, you won't see it outside of that. And that's bad. So we have an idea of a different concept. This kind of was hinted up at by Stephen when there was a recent PR reverting some stuff about resource ownership in async hooks. There's multiple kinds of ownership and context propagation, and we don't have a clear one for what we're calling follows from. We do for async local storage, which is basically not follows from, but child of. So
Right.
async local storage is always the child of a task inherits the data. Follows from would have nothing for as a high level abstract construct.
Is this
And we're
something
still
you
making
can do
strides on
today
that.
with async hooks?
We do it today poorly with
Right.
async hooks. That's part of the introduction of the promise hooks because it makes it
Right.
more correct.
Okay.
But like I said, we can't use promise hooks because we can't backport it to 12. I am
Right.
actively trying to become part of the release working group just so I can backport that to 12 with prejudice. So we will see if that works.
So yeah, so I guess that's another use case to make sure that's called out in terms of like a async hooks replacement, right?
Yes, but everything we've encountered, at least from what I've read at Datadog source code, is about context propagation. It's not about timing,
Right.
which is what Node Clinic is using it for.
Right. Yeah, I think this is what I think, we should have the discussion when we have Stephen, but like, it seems like we've gone out, we've asked for feedback. What we now need to sort of like spend a session talking about, okay, what are the next steps on this, and how do we, what is it that we need to do to move it forward in terms of, do we have enough feedback to say these are the use cases? And then it sounds like, you're already thinking and working about on some of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much we have in the agenda. Anybody else have any other topics to discuss?
The only thing that we might want to discuss at the agenda is like diagnostics channel. We're starting to use it in the wild. Is there like a success story thing? I know I've joined this working group later. Is there like a way to track user success currently?
Sorry, say that again. I just missed that.
So we, like I said earlier in the call, we are starting to change our instrumentation to use diagnostics channel.
Mhm.
Is there like a user success tracking going on in this working group, or is it just kind of we report back to you if we have problems? I joined.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything active in terms of like, yeah, you know, I think if there's problems, it's a report back kind of thing. It would be good if there is
Okay.
like to help publicize, like if you have a user success story to get out there, it'd be good to
Correct.
support that as a like, hey, do we have a blog post? Can get that blog post get into one of the node channels? That kind of thing, I think would be good.
In particular for diagnostics channel, we need libraries to start using it. So like we need some sort of success so that other authors start writing it.
Right. So I think this group should definitely try and help support getting that message out. If there's a, you know, if there's a success story we can point to, promote, and even just like, you know, if it's we need to, if the next part on diagnostic channel is some blog posts sort of explaining what it is and how to use it and encouraging people, that's also something this group could hopefully help support.
Yeah. I guess blogs are one way, other way. So, I mean, using it as a theme for conferences such as Collab Summit and things like that.
Yeah, I think that we could at least list some of the key libraries and that could be used with diagnostic channel. For instance, we have implemented diagnostic channels at Fastify, but would be good to have it in some others HTTP libraries, and if at least if we create some way of tracking it, would be great, I think.
Yeah,
Steven's
even
here.
Oh, Stephen is in the chat. I think that you can promote him.
yeah, I even wonder if something like a guide in the node repo, like integrating your module with diagnostic channel or something would be any use.
Hey, Stephen.
I'm a bit lacking on what the conversation is currently. Just trying to mend it up.
We are talking about the diagnostic channel. How do we track or how do we promote the user success stories around diagnostic channels? What are the mediums and what are the methods through which we can do that? And how diagnostic working group can help promoting the usage of those features.
Yep. And so I somewhat suspect like most of the usage is kind of going to be like us going to whatever modules need to use it and adding it ourselves. I don't know how much we're going to be able to convince other people to use it on their own, at least in the early stages.
Mhm.
Like the main use case for it is like APM, and so like APM people just need to go and add support for it to the different modules that we want to get insight out of.
Yep, Stephen, I don't know if you saw the PR on the Datadog stuff that we are doing that with monkey patching in a new thing.
Yep. Yeah, I know we've been doing some stuff with it. So yeah, it's just takes time to change how we're doing everything.
Yep. I also had a question after reading stuff. Maybe this working group could answer it. Is there a way to just listen for new channels being made?
I don't think there's like a way to listen for just anything, but would be reasonable to add, I think.
I don't want to listen to everything. I just want to listen for channel names. Yeah. Because listening to everything would just be a lot of noise, usually. And it only
Hmm.
matters if you can understand the channel.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just like having we could have like another channel that is just like same thing as forget what the name of the thing is, but
But don't do what event listener did. Don't do that. Don't do the new event listener model. Anyway, we can discuss it later with more curiosity, not a need.
yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, not immediately sure what that would look like, but yeah, we can figure it out.
Okay. If no other items on the agenda, if anybody has any other items, otherwise we are done for today.
I just would like to bring it again. We did some great great documentations about the user journey, but I think that this work has been stopped at I think for, I don't know, doing some lack of traction. Uh, due to the fact that the document it's easy to do. I think that we could uh, promote it, or we could share it publicly with the community if someone is interested in create some tutorial in one of our current list of missing tutorials. I think that would be great, because uh, this this work we have been doing the past year, but uh, since it has finished in the document, we haven't exposed it to the community. I think that would be great to align some of that tutorials with folks outside of Node.js diagnostic group. Let
Yeah, it
me
definitely would be good. I'd been hoping to bring somebody from my team in, but they've been distracted with other things. So you're
yeah,
kind of suggesting we're like make a call for people to help move it forward, or what's the?
Yeah, I think so, because the tutorials is in some of them is easy, or for instance, for folks that who have used trace events for something, would be more easier as well. And also there's some tutorials missing for specifically operational systems. So for instance, the when you try to use native tools like the trace, it usually works when you use Solaris as operational system, and I could make it. So I think that a call for people to help it would be great, and also is a good first issue for everyone.
I agree. It's like a chicken and egg problem we are trying to address, because we want all the documents to be published and highly consumable. But on the other hand, we need help from people, and we didn't get people because people are not convinced of its usages, because they didn't see it. Whatever the documents we created hasn't seen the light. So one of the approach to break it is to publish the things that we are covered already, make it available for consumption, that you use that as a motivation for people to come and contribute more. Something worth picking up in the new year.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'll make sure to open an issue, or identify an open issue already and attach with agenda, so that we can start discussing on how do we plan for that.
Yeah, and Raphael,
Okay.
if you have like a list of, you think of good things that are a list of the concrete things that like somebody else could come in and help with, it'd be good. We can add that in there as a good starting point.
Yeah, actually, I've shared here in the chat an issue that I have created in September
Right.
with a list of missing tutorials. I think that it could be a good start.
Yeah, okay, no, good, good. Yeah. Definitely
All
makes
right.
sense.
Yeah. Thanks for that. And I guess that's all the items we have today. Anything else before we call it? Okay, then. Thanks everybody for joining. Talk
Great.
to you later.
Talk to everybody later.